If you're watching this, you're probably like me, looking for ideas, ways to get to the next level or move things forward. Maybe you feel stuck or like you could be doing more, or maybe you want to change, but where do we even start? So many people experience this inner crisis, reevaluating priorities. What's important? Is it the house, the family, and career, or doing yoga, making cheese? I don't know. There are so many options and no shortage of advice. So what's my mission in life? What should I do? What if I told you it's already decided, that deep down inside you know exactly what to do? What if I could tell you right now what your purpose in life is? Would you want to know? Well, that's what we're going to explore in this video. What is your purpose in life? Here's the thing. Once you know, there's no going back. They say a person can only act at their current level of consciousness. But after this, you will know. You'll have to take a leap and live the life of your dreams. So I ask you, do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill?
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
All right, you're still with me. That's good. Here we go. Your purpose is to live your best life. Okay, I know, hold on. There's a lot more to this. What is your best life? How can you measure it? How do you achieve it? I'm going to explain all of this. Well, a large part of it is happiness or satisfaction, which can be a moving target because what makes you happy today might not make you happy tomorrow. What's the highest level of happiness? Is it rolling on the floor laughing, or having children, or climbing a mountain? These are all very different kinds of happiness or satisfaction. In this video, we're going to quantify the emotional state and how to achieve the highest levels of satisfaction at every dimension of your being. To understand this, first we have to consider what we're talking about. This is your life, the human being. It's two parts. There's the human and the being. And to live your best life, these two parts need to be in alignment, like fully integrated. Think of the human as the physical form, the biological conditioned personality, or what Eckhart Tolle calls the egoic mind. Evolved over millions of years, there's billions of synapses of complex processes and functions, way ahead of ChatGPT or self-driving cars. The being is pure consciousness, like the true self, the spirit, this non-local pure energy field or universal intelligence, whatever you want to call it. Now, this could be a function of the physical body, but science has not proven that, and they haven't disproven it either. It's not a stretch to think that consciousness could be more than what we understand. You can't achieve your best life unless both parts are in alignment, which I'll explain more about later. But first, let's talk about the human. We have instincts that have evolved over millions of years, of biological imperatives that drive our internal reward system, motivation, focus, and behavior. We are a survival machine. It's like a very sophisticated operating system. The human body can run on autopilot. Its primary instinct is to survive, to eat and not be eaten, find shelter, and then it expands. We want to maybe have children or ensure that our offspring and family are safe, followed by the tribe or the community or whatever groups that we identify with. We're driven at a molecular level by our neurophysiology, our nervous system that governs our emotions, our focus and resources to ensure safety and survival. In our society, most of us are way beyond food and shelter, so our survival focus is at a much higher level. So to really feel our best, we need to recognize this built-in drive in three areas. First is connection. Survive not because we were the fastest or the strongest, but we evolved in a way that allowed us to thrive together. This is part due to the fact that our offspring are so vulnerable. Unlike a horse is born and it just stands up and it can eat solid food, but humans take a really long time to be even slightly independent. From the moment we're born, our survival depends on attachment and connection. And for most of human evolution, it was unlikely a person could survive alone. We're instinctively driven to cultivate relationships and social connections. It's healthy. It really is the medicine for our body and our minds. Next is creativity. We're creative beings. That might not mean painting or poetry, but every person is unique. We need to create to feel at our best. There's a great quote from Brene Brown. She says, "Unused creativity is not benign. It metastasizes. It turns into grief, rage, trauma, judgment, sorrow, shame. We are divine beings and we're by nature creative beings." Everyone has gifts and a desire to share them with the world. There's a part of you that knows if you're actually doing it. Sometimes we get caught up in what our parents want us to do or unsure of what we're capable of, but you have a calling, which we'll talk more about later. And then there's impact. We want to do good. That's the primary driver. We want to serve the greater good. That's why it's so gratifying when our efforts are appreciated. So this has resulted in mixed signals. Ultimate source of feeling positive is having contributed to the greater good. Recognition is a signal. Status is a signal. It's not the source. For most of human evolution, we were migratory. We lived in these small communities and everybody played an important role. If I was really gifted at, say, hunting, maybe I created a new hunting weapon and I was able to hunt down like these giant animals and nobody else could do it, I would be celebrated. I'd be given special status. I would be given the best seat by the fire. They would draw the story on the cave walls. I'd be given gifts, maybe the best furs, or even people that didn't know me would see how I'm treated. They would recognize all these signals that it would indicate that I've done a lot of good. Now, all these signals would further motivate me and inspire others to strive to do good for the community. And it wasn't really until 10,000 years ago that we started to stay in one place. Before, you couldn't accumulate wealth, so you could only really take what you could carry. Generational wealth, entitlement have allowed people to get all the signals of greatness really without doing the good. Today, many people are more focused on getting the signals. They think by getting the wealth or the special treatment or fame, that will make them happy. But those are just signals. There's a part of you that knows if you've earned it, knows if you've done good, the good that you are uniquely capable of. You can't fool that part. You can't take credit for someone else's good and feel that same level of joy and satisfaction. As long as there's a gap between the good you're capable of and what you do, you can never feel your best or live your best life. And finally is growth. And growth, it really applies to everything. We're like trees. We need to always be growing to be happiest. Not just a branch or a leaf, but all over. Not just until we can retire in Florida and play pickleball every day. This is the way we're wired. It affects every other area. In connection, always cultivating, expanding, creating new connections, evolving, pruning out the connections we've outgrown. Creativity, always finding new expressions, learning, integrating, diverging. This could mean reinventing yourself or starting a new side hustle or learning an instrument or a new language. Impact. We can't just keep doing the same good. We will always be happiest if we are doing more, pushing the limits, going the extra mile. It's known as the law of diminishing returns. Say you had the most amazing meal of your life, some James Beard chef extravaganza. You would savor every bite and you'd just be blown away for days. But imagine you had that same meal every day, or maybe 3 times a day for, how long would it take before you hated it? You just never wanted to have it again. Our brains are programmed not just to want something novel or different, but to be challenged. This ensures that we continue to grow. When we tackle really hard things, it gives us superpowers. There's a part of the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, and in brain scans, this part gets all fired up when we do hard things. When we push past our limits, it plays a crucial role in motivation, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Like overall, this part acts like a superpower because it amplifies the cognitive and emotional resources to conquer these hard tasks. So these are all like biological imperatives. So on that note, let's talk about the other half, the being. So this is the spiritual entity. Joseph Campbell described God as a metaphor for a mystery that absolutely transcends all human categories of thought, even the categories of being and non-being. So imagine that you're some cosmic being transcending time and space and everything we know, and you have a job to do. You've been connected to this human life form, and your job is to make sure that he has the best possible life. But so far, it's mostly been ignoring you. It doesn't really speak cosmic being, and you don't speak monkey, right? It's a hard job. Most humans never become conscious of their inner being, their true self. They just keep kind of running on this neurological programs and survival autopilot, constantly afraid of losing what they have or not getting what they want. That's the lowest level of emotional vibration. Now, some of the great sages over the times have become fully integrated with their humans. They've become enlightened. There's so much research and writing, so many pundits indicating the immeasurable benefits of seeking enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Real yoga, like the old ancient yoga, it's a set of mind-body practices focusing on reaching a deeper state of being and optimizing kind of your brain-body function. The word yoga means union, but it's not like a mind-body union. What it really means is a liberation from the body and integration with the universal awareness, like this field of pure energy and potential. So you could think of this spectrum of vibration where at one end is shame and misery and the other end is pure bliss. At the highest vibration level, you're a fully conscious human being. It's like true self or enlightened. At the other end, you're unconscious. You're entirely the human running on autopilot, mostly suffering. David Hawkins created this map of consciousness, which provides a kind of a cool framework to think about this. The higher the frequency, the more conscious. We become more connected and open, less distracted by things that aren't important in the larger scheme of things. And then the lower level is the survival mode, the anger, the fear, the shame. So your best life possible equals the frequency over time, the higher frequency. So you can imagine, times when you felt at peace or uplifted and inspired, and times you felt anxious and fearful. It goes up and down. Like if your Fitbit or your Apple Watch could monitor your vibe, what would it take to continue to raise your vibration over time? Everyone's in a different place, in a different situation. And how much time you spend in the lower vibration, worrying, freaking out, suffering, your inner being knows the path to the best life possible. If you imagine like each point is an average of the vibe for the year, in order to achieve this growth, you need to transform your whole self. So we talked about the human, the needs for connection, creative expression, impact, and growth. And now we're talking about the being. So this is the need to become more conscious, to get out of the survival mode. It's a journey of both spiritual growth and self-awareness. There's the two-part journey. In order to grow spiritually, you need to know yourself and what's kind of holding you back. This is a common practice across cultures and religions and contemplative practices for so long. It's this idea of dissolving the ego. It's like waking up from a dream. So spiritual practice, mindfulness, meditation, whatever you want to call it, to spend time in silence, to become aware of the non-stop inner commentary and thinking and replaying events in your head, the quiet time away from consuming information. So this can involve meditation, yoga, breath work. It's really a fourth state in the deepest level of yoga. When we think about there's being awake, there's being asleep, there's dreaming, and then the fourth state is this like non-sleep deep rest. And this is a place where you can really rewire your brain. It's as much about developing inner peace as it's about creating inner awareness. This should be a regular daily practice, like sleeping or flossing. For many people, myself included, meditation is not easy. It's like exercise. And there was a time I couldn't do push-ups or pull-ups. And I had to really do it over and over again. But the truth is that science has shown through scans and technology that it changes the anatomy of the brain. It thickens the prefrontal cortex, improving things like cognitive function, problem solving, and decision making. It shrinks the amygdala, which results in decreased anxiety and reactivity. It improves emotional regulation. And it strengthens this, like the insula, which is the part of the brain responsible for self-awareness and interoception, which is really awareness of the sensations in your body. And all of this really helps with the second part, which is self-awareness, right? The emotion, understanding the emotional dysfunction that's happening inside you because of how you grew up or how your life has been. Unprocessed negative emotions, painful experiences, trauma, it causes dysfunction that can have mental and physical health consequences. If you had an overly critical parent, you may have unconsciously hold a belief that you're not good enough. Now that might lead to behavior that undermines relationships or opportunities. And these dysfunctional patterns make you feel unsafe and lower your vibe. And this plays out in a million different ways and things that can happen. But the key is to create these quiet spaces where you can recognize how these thoughts and feelings arise. And instead of focusing on the triggering events or circumstances, we need to allow these feelings to let them run their course, to notice the images and emotions without judgment. This is often referred to as shadow work. Rooted in Jung psychology, it's a process of exploring and integrating unconscious aspects of ourself. There's many frameworks for understanding these inner conflicts and thought patterns and that cause us the suffering. Internal family systems, which was developed by Dr. Richard Schwartz, and it provides a framework for understanding how these behavior adaptations can get in the way and cause us problems. And you can also learn about attachment styles and toxic shame. Everyone has a different place. It's good to work with a therapist that can help find the best integrated path towards wholeness. Ultimately, we're seeking to be more conscious while removing what is holding us back. Okay, we have the human and the being, and we need to do all these things to live our best life. But how do we really do that? So it starts with your calling, your reason for being. You can only live your best life if you find this calling. Through this journey, we can fully integrate both parts. Your inner being will always be guiding you towards the ultimate expression of your unique gifts. Your calling is the essence of yourself, something you do with creativity, passion, and love that benefits the greater good. Your calling isn't an endpoint, though. It's contextual. It's directional from wherever you are right now. Everything you've ever learned, experienced, everyone you've met, your unique qualities and talents, where you live, what's happening in the world, in this place we find your calling. There's a Japanese concept of Ikigai, which is literally translates into reason for being. It represents the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. And again, everything else, for this to really work, it requires continuous growth. Starting from where you are to really follow your calling, we must always be going through this process of learning, mastering, and evolving. Now that could mean learning something new to take on next, or adding your special mojo to what it is you do now. You'll begin to know if you're challenging yourself and moving in the right direction. Your ability to sense that truth will grow as you develop spiritually. Ken Jeong, he's this actor, comedian.
I don't have a gray wire. I have red, green, and yellow.
That's weird. I have light gray, medium gray, dark gray.
You do?
Man, I forgot. My bad. I'm colorblind.
He started doing stand-up comedy at Duke, and while he was in medical school, he had a lot of pressure from his Korean family. Like, they wanted him to be a doctor before he was born. He even started practicing as an internal medicine doctor in LA and doing stand-up comedy. And then he started doing some TV appearances. And it wasn't until after he was in a big movie, it was Knocked Up, he finally quit his day job. He didn't waste his calling by pursuing a medical degree. And in that first movie, he played a doctor. So who knows if he would have become as successful as he is now if he wasn't exactly who he was then. So wherever you are right now is where you need to be. There's one path forward to your best life. You might think there's so many people that are incredibly successful and have it all, and they're still miserable. And the fact is, the more successful you are, the harder it is to continue to grow and evolve, because there's so much pressure to stay where you are to keep kind of delivering that success when you're really good. Many careers and professions depend on like having the best people stay in place for as long as possible. And this can be kind of a trap because you're starting to make more money or financial incentives or whatever, and you think you'll get your deeper meaning elsewhere. But the fact is you spend most of your time working, so you need to keep growing. Now, it's also critical to have what I call a foundation for growth. And this is where we kind of bring in all these other factors. So we see like so many celebrities and incredible artists that kind of self-destruct when they reach that peak of their calling. When they experience all this incredible success in terms of fame and fortune, they don't evolve in ways that make life sustainable. So in order to continue to grow in our calling, we need a solid foundation. I break this down into these 3 areas that encompasses everything we're talking about. So first is health, and this includes your mental, physical, and spiritual health. And in each area is like a practice, layers of growth and transformation it's like peeling an onion. Always identifying the obstacles and finding ways to continue on the path of transformation. As we get older, our bodies change, our situations change. We always need to make health a priority. And then next is connection. That includes love and family and friends and social connection, not only cultivating relationships, but growing in terms of social and emotional intelligence, making a difference in people's lives and asking for help, healing conflict and moving on from unhealthy connections. This is vital to long-term wellness. And then resources. So not just wealth, but also credentials, your experience, your reputation. We need to continue to invest in a range of resources. Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, he reached this pinnacle of success as a musical artist. He was considered like one of the most influential rock musicians. He was married to Courtney Love. So one part of his foundation, the resources, grew immensely. The wealth, the reputation, the accolades, the experience, the fame. In theory, he could do anything. You'd think he would be incredibly happy, but his other areas, his health and connections, didn't grow. His health, he suffered from depression, he was addicted to heroin, he had scoliosis, causing this chronic back pain and all other health problems, and he didn't have friends and quality relationships. He would isolate, like his marriage was in trouble. He really wasn't close to anyone. His body was found 3 days after he took his own life. This is an extreme example, but it's so important to have a balanced foundation and to prioritize the areas that we need to work in. Now, fun is not a pillar, but in order to be happy, healthy, and wise, and cultivate amazing relationships, so it's not all hustle and grind. We need to do fun things, to play games, to learn and discover, and things that are energizing and exciting. And this is how we can build and deepen relationships as well. It's not like you go run off and have fun by yourself and then come back to it's like it's part of this whole integrated life. To live your life at the highest average vibe from now on, we need to focus on pursuing our calling with this solid foundation of health, connection, and resources. With all that in mind, it's important to create a compelling vision for your life, a clear picture of what your best life might look like. I mean, you can achieve pretty much anything in 3 to 5 years. So it's most likely going to be more than you give yourself credit for. I suggest starting with a vision board that represents your calling and reflects that solid foundation, the health, connection, and resources, how you really want it to be. Just amazing sketch of good fortune in that period of time. I like to think of this in terms of pains and promises, right? So the pains would be, what are the things that would really make a difference if I could solve for them, right? Whether it's my health, my financial situation, debt, job things, whatever it is, the things that really draw from me, that I'm worried about, that bring me the most challenges. What would those look like if they were completely solved for? And then what are the promises you want to make to yourself? What would bring you the most joy and excitement? Is it a new job or learning a new skill, writing a book? What's most important to you? Home, romance, travel, or fitness? Now, once you have a clear picture, you can start thinking about the next year. A transformation like this can often be exponential. So if I'm looking at a 3 to 5 year timeline, I might only get 10 or 20% in the first year. So look at the difference between now and your vision, and what would it look like to have a solid foundation and to do well this year. And those become the focus points. Do you have health concerns or habits or relationships that you need to transform? From here you can set goals for the year and start to plan as you go. Don't worry about every step of each thing. You can focus on the next step forward. I like to plan yearly and quarterly, monthly, week. I plan a lot, but my plan for the year includes fitness and financial goals, and I'll plan each segment and ask myself, what's the next step forward? What can I do this quarter, this month, this week? For prioritization, it's important to be realistic. You only have so much time, 168 hours a week to be exact. What I like to do is to add up all that non-negotiable time, the sleeping and eating and work and showers and commuting, and figure out how much time you have left. If it's 20 or 40 hours, this is your time. This is your most important asset. So you can look at your most important things that you want to change and accomplish in each area and give yourself a guide. Break it down by category. So if it's 40 hours, maybe it's 15 to expand your calling, and 12 for your health, and 8 for connections, and 3 for resources, and 2 for fun, or you might want your own categories like kids and school or startup. That way you can look back at the week or the month and you can honestly reflect on, did I spend 10 hours improving my health or cultivating connections? Did I spend too much time on Netflix, and what got in the way, or what can I do next month? It's something taking up too much of my time and energy. You're recreating your world every day. Your mind is always using your memory and expectations to shape your perception of reality. So look at this picture of the Coca-Cola. So if you zoom in, there is not a single red pixel. Your mind just makes stuff up based on its expectation. That's kind of part of its filtering process. By having this vision, you're creating a new expectation for the future. At the same time, there's a network of the brain, it's called the reticular activating system, that controls sensory information, what you notice or filter out. So just like if you were thinking about buying a certain type of car, you might start to see them everywhere. You begin to notice what supports your vision, your expectations, and filter out all the interference. That means your feelings and thoughts and actions will shift and become more aligned with your transformation, growth, and progress. So the good news is you don't have to solve all your problems or get everything done to feel amazing. It's all about direction, not perfection. You may still have challenges, but you'll feel hopeful. Hope is a powerful motivator. In the 50s, there was an experiment done to see how long rats could tread water. On average, they would last like 15 minutes and then they would drown. So for some of the rats, once they went down, like for the last time, they'd rescue them and they'd dry them off, give them a little rest, a little rat food or whatever, and then put them back in the water. Now, they're still pretty tired. How long do you think? Do you think they could last longer? Maybe another 5 or 10 minutes? So the rescued rats averaged 60 hours. 60 hours after they were rescued once. It's amazing what a little hope can do. There's a lot more to creating your life vision and effective habit formation and time management and all this stuff. And these are topics for future videos. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So now you know your purpose in life and how to achieve it. And that voice telling you you're not enough, it's really telling you you're so much more. You're feeling you're stuck. It's really a call to action. Sometimes it feels like it's your mother-in-law in the back seat, like clicking her tongue and heavy sighs, and you can't tell, am I going too fast? Should I have turned left? But it's more like this. Imagine you won an all-expenses paid trip to the Maldives. 5 stars, like even the motorized water sports are included. And you're about halfway through this vacation and you haven't left the room. You're just loving the sheets. You're looking at, trying to get the best settings on your GoPro. And this part of you, your true self, it knows the entire resort. It's like all knowing, all seeing. It knows the schedule, the beaches, the sunsets, the dining you'd love. And it knows all the people that would love to meet you. And it loves you so much. It doesn't want you to miss a thing. You need to find that voice, to listen to that part of you, to live your best life. That is your purpose. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I'm Dean Whitney. I'm a neuroscience life coach. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Please subscribe, like, share it, but most importantly, I hope to see you again in the next video. Remember, you're a gift. Stay present.